Coming up, everything you need to know about the midterm election. And later, a grant comes to help diversify art in Iowa City.
As Iowa's offense finally figured things out,
chilly temperatures are staying for the beginning of the week.
This is DITV News at 8:30. Good morning. We're live on the DailyIowan.com and KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Johnny Valtman. Election Day is almost upon us. The 2022 midterm election day is tomorrow, November 8th. This race covers several national, state, and local offices, including Iowa Governor, Iowa U.S. Senate's race, Iowa's 4 congressional districts, Iowa Secretary of State, Iowa Attorney General, and more. Stay tuned with the Daily Iowan and DITV for more content on the races and results this week. Now, knowing your options on Election Day can be difficult, we have DITV politics reporter Maura DeSico live in the newsroom with on where, when, and how to vote. Maura, where can Johnson County residents vote in tomorrow's election?
Thanks, Johnny. Voters have several locations that they can vote on tomorrow, including a few on campus, those of which would be the Campus Recreation and Wellness Building, the Brain Science Building, the Visual Arts Building, and Peterson and Catlett Residence Halls. There are also a few locations across Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty, as you can see on the map here. But keep in mind that those voting locations may have changed from previous years.
And how long will people have time to vote?
The polls open at 7 a.m. on Tuesday and close at 8 p.m. This is 1 hour earlier from previous years. Those who still need to register to vote can do so on the day of the election, but all voters need to bring a valid ID to the polls.
And how can people register to vote?
Voters can register at the Johnson County Auditor's Office at 913 Dubuque Street from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., or they can simply register to vote at the polls before casting their ballot. If you still need to register to vote, remember to bring your proof of address and valid ID. Back to you, Johnny.
Iowa City and Coralville Transit are offering free rides to polling locations this year. These rides will be offered on Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Some people that actually called and inquired about the service, so it sounds like people are using it.
Proof of registration or destination is not required. The rides will be free for everyone. It is encouraged that riders know their polling locations before boarding the bus to determine the best route to your polling location or locate your polling location. On the ballot this year, Iowans have the opportunity to vote on Iowa Amendment 1. Iowa Amendment 1 is the right to keep or bear arms and is on the ballot as a legislatively referred constitutional amendment. Voting yes supports adding the right to keep and bear firearms, and voting no opposes adding the right to keep and bear firearms. This amendment would add the right to the Iowa Constitution and would require strict scrutiny for alleged violations of the right brought before a court.
It would make it difficult for some gun control laws to get passed, but if you are pro that, then it goes both ways.
Currently, 44 other states have the right to bear arms in their state's constitution. Another topic being called into question at the state and national level of this election is reproductive rights. Many voters on all sides of the aisle are coming out to vote in this election due to this important issue. On a college campus, the reaction to the right to abortion is having a high impact the current student body. Some University of Iowa clubs and organizations are making their stances known through protests and events at the university.
This is like a fundamental decision that people ought to have the capacity to choose to plan how they are living their family lives.
Other groups on campus are choosing to endorse parties and candidates rather than endorsing policies on the contested issue.
We're an open party. We do have members who describe themselves as pro-choice, and they're more than welcome in our club and our party. We really just push the candidates and tell them that Republican candidates overall are going to provide a better America for us in the future.
On either side of the ballot, this is a nationwide topic bringing some voters to the polls. this year. Now, Reagan, we have got a bit of a hot and cold in Iowa City this last week. How is this week looking?
Well, Johnny, this week we can expect some freezing mornings to start off with. Right now, looking at a live shot of the Pentacrest in Iowa City, the temperature is 33 degrees and will only climb to a high of 51 degrees today. Tomorrow at the polls, you can expect a low of 36 degrees and a high of 56 degrees. And looking ahead to the rest of the week, you're going to want a coat in the mornings as temperatures will not get above 50 degrees, but you can leave that coat at home for the afternoon as temperatures will shoot back up to the low 70s for the second half of the week. Cloudy skies are going to be present throughout the remainder of the week, however, with a chance of thunderstorms on Thursday. Looking outside of Iowa now, this weekend, deadly tornadoes touched down in the south. On Friday, tornadoes hit Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas. At least 2 EF3 tornadoes touched down, and at least 2 people are reported dead. Now back to you, Johnny.
The Iowa Weightlifting Club held a special event for all to participate in. DITV News reporter David Consuelos has more on the goal for the event.
The University of Iowa Weightlifting Club held their second annual weightlifting championship at the Fieldhouse Recreation Center this past Saturday. The event allowed any aspiring weightlifter to register and showcase their skills against the competition. The weightlifting championship featured participants competing in the snatch and clean and jerk exercises, which are 2 of the most iconic power exercises in weightlifting. The snatch exercise focuses on form and finesse, while the clean and jerk allows a weightlifter to use full force and power. Each participant weighed in order to be registered to a specific weight class, and the club awarded medals to the best totals in each respective weight category.
It's kind of a not as well-known sport, Olympic weightlifting specifically. So what we try to do is we're trying to introduce students at the university to this sport. And one way is to host the biggest weightlifting event since 2015 in Iowa. Why not open it up to everyone and let everyone have a chance to lift and have fun and try to just further themselves in the sport.
The Iowa Weightlifting Club plans to hold more events in order to promote Olympic weightlifting as a sport.
A lot of it has to do it's a USAC qualifying meet for the national tournament. So if you're trying to qualify for something specific, this is official. So whatever you hit here is that number that they're going to use.
From the Fieldhouse Recreation Center, David Consuelos, DITV News.
Public Space One received a $2,500 grant from the USA Today Network to support the Center for Afrofuturist Studies. This grant will help to fund resident stipends, housing, travel, and support. Public Space One has existed since 2002 to bring in artistic resources along with workshops and exhibitions to Iowa City. They rent out studios to local artists and nonprofits focused on community building. The Center for the Afrofuturist Studies has existed since 2015 and has hosted around 20 artists. This program aims to spark conversations about important and challenging topics such as racial justice and economic racial inequality. Dunkin' Donuts has recently changed their rewards program and how it works. DITV News director Ashley Wheel is live outside Dunkin' in downtown Iowa City with more on what this change means and why rewards programs matter.
Perks with their new program simply called Dunkin' Rewards. However, coffee lovers are upset with this change and what it means for their perks.
Anytime a loyalty program changes, I'm always skeptical that it's something in favor of the company and not in favor of the member.
Loyal Dunkin' fans are now contemplating their coffee habits now that Dunkin's new reward system changes the points they receive and how they redeem them. However, online, customers have pointed out that it now takes more money and more points before they can redeem rewards such as free drinks.
I probably would have to go there for like a whole month before I even got something free.
So we don't like our reward systems being changed. That's something that normally causes concern. When Starbucks changed theirs 10 years ago or 5 years ago, people were upset. But from time to time, given the way the economy changes and price value changes, rewards programs need to be changed.
Many customers compared their experience with Dunkin' to another popular chain, Starbucks.
I have like the Starbucks rewards.
Organizations have to balance how much they want to take and give with their different perks and rewards programs.
One of the challenges right now for businesses and for consumers is that there's so many of them.
Overall, businesses' goals with rewards or loyalty programs are to get ahead of competitors by standing out with the rewards and points given out.
enough, they gather a lot of data about the different consumers that sign up for the rewards program. The other thing is hopefully it gives them more loyal consumers.
From the Dunkin' customers I talked to outside here, they will still continue to get their caffeine fix from this chain location, but they're not happy with this change. But it simply is that companies are having to change their perks due to the current state of the economy. Live from downtown Iowa City, Ashley Wheel, DITV. Back to you in the studio, Johnny.
A UI professor worked to create the People's Law Library of Iowa website. Law Library Director and Professor Carissa Vogel worked with State Library of Iowa librarian Michael Scott to create the website. It was modeled after the People's Law Library of Maryland, which is considered the gold standard in online legal resources. The website focuses on consumer law, family law, and landlord and tenant law. Through these, though there are plans to expand to over 15 different kinds of law in the next 5 years. The website features a video on how to use the site and language translation through Google Translate. Now let's send it over to DITV Sports with AJ Reisetter.
The Iowa football team continued their quest through the Big Ten West last weekend when they traveled to West Lafayette, Indiana to take on Purdue. But beating them meant a whole lot more than continuing their winning streak. Last season, the Purdue Boilermakers went into Kinnick Stadium and spoiled the Hawkeyes' chances at the college football playoffs. But Saturday, the Hawkeyes went into Ross-Ade Stadium looking for revenge and got just that, defeating the Boilermakers 24-3. On top of that, for the second week in a row, all three faces were clicking.
No offense to anyone in here, but you guys had us dead two weeks ago. You know, we couldn't do anything right, as did, you know, the whole outside world, it felt like. But that's not what football is. You know, football is a week-to-week game. You keep working, and if you do things right and work hard, then good results happen. And the last 2 weeks, I think, have been proof of that.
Through the air, quarterback Spencer Petras compiled 192 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Caleb Johnson controlled the ground game, rushing for 200 yards, including a 75-yard touchdown to open the second half. On the defensive side, the Hawks had 2 interceptions and 3 sacks, while also holding former Iowa wideout Charlie Jones to 11 receptions and 104 yards.
Yeah, I was competitive a little bit, and he's competitive too, and that's what makes football fun. That's why people love it. You know what I mean? So if you're not busting your boys' balls and you know, talking some trash and stuff and having fun while doing it, then you don't love the sport.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to him during the game and after. After their game, it was a little bit more live-like, but during the game, it was probably a little bit more trash talk for sure.
If the Hawkeyes are able to win out the rest of the season, a Big Ten West title could be in reach. But it will all start this weekend when the Hawkeyes host the Wisconsin Badgers at Kinnick Stadium. Moving off the gridiron and onto the hardwood, tonight Hawkeye fans will get a special treat as the men's and women's basketball teams will both open their season off at Carver Hawkeye Arena tonight. The Iowa men's team will tip things off first starting at 6:30 when they take on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. The Hawkeyes have won their last 11 straight season openers and look to continue that against the rebuilding Wildcats. Last season, Bethune-Cookman would finish with just 9 wins to their 23 losses. So if Iowa's new starting 5 can get out to an early lead, don't be surprised if we see a lot of minutes from the bench unit, especially true freshmen such as Josh Dix and Desante Bowen, who looked very impressive in their debut as Hawkeyes in last week's exhibition. And the 4th-ranked Iowa women's team will take the court after the men's game, and the Hawkeyes are taking on the Southern Jaguars for the 2nd season in a row. This is an experienced Iowa team as they return each starting member of last year's Big Ten tournament squad, led by 2 Naismith Award watch list members in Caitlin Clark and Monica Sinano. Last year, the Hawks would struggle with the Jaguars despite winning their matchup 87-67, but Clark would struggle as she wouldn't crack 20 points, which only happened 9 times all of last season. Clark would finish with her first of 5 triple-doubles in this game, however, so it's not like she wasn't effective for the Hawks. Clark will look to begin her Naismith campaign tonight around 8:30. Come back Wednesday for all the latest on everything Hawkeye sports. Back to you, Johnny.
Thank you for tuning in to DITV News and listening to KRUI 89.7 FM. Be sure to head over to thedailyiowan.com for all your latest news between Monday and Friday. And check out more of our content on dailyiowan.com/DITV. For DITV News, I'm Johnny Valtman. Have a great day.